In the chosen undead system, dying is considered especially heinous. In Lordran, the dedicated players that try to avoid this heinous fate are members of an elite squad known as the Special Deathless Unit. These are their stories. Except it's just one person's story, mine. Hey, it's AlaskanBeard, and this is my journey to beat Dark Souls 1, all its bosses and DLC without dying, without glitches, and without any major skips. This is a run I tried to get late last year, but I only ever made it to Better Chaos. After my Soul Level 1 run earlier this year, I figured it was probably time to give this another go, and spoilers, I was able to get this within 8 attempts. The footage you'll be seeing is mostly from my successful attempt. My goal at the beginning of the run is to get some pickups and to get level 16 strength and 14 dexterity so I can use the halberd that we get from Undead Parish and the longbow we get from Deep Root. So we pick the warrior whose stats are closest to where we want to end up, and we take the master key as our gift so I don't have to figure out where to get keys to open doors like the devs intended. Here's Undead Asylum. Say goodbye. We won't ever be seeing it again. Tell me that this is not the face of a winner. You can't, because it is. There's never been a more hardy specimen for this challenge run. And here's the first boss of the game, Asylum Ass Demon. And there he goes. Say goodbye. Fun fact, out of all the attempts I did, this is the only one I did hitless. I'm kind of a gamer. And welcome home to Firelink Shrine. We pick up a few goodies here that will be useful throughout the run, like firebombs, Lloyd's Talismans, Homeward Bones, and the Blood of Petrus. Yeah, one of those things is not like the others, so it's probably a good time to explain how enemy drops work in Dark Souls 1. When you first undie into the game, you have base item discovery, which is 100. I'll call this 1x item discovery. All of the drop rates that you see online are based on this. There are a couple ways to improve your item discovery throughout the game, like getting the Covetous Gold Serpent Ring from Sen's Fortress. It takes item discovery up to 3x, but that's a long time to go without the item drops I want, so I need an alternative, which comes in the form of humanity. As our stored humanity goes up, this 00 in the top left tracks it. So does our item discovery, at least from 1 to 10 humanity, up to a max of 2.1x item discovery. I'll explain the drops we're going for when we get there, but that's why Petrus has to die at the start of the run. That, and because he's a giant weenie. Like, this guy is here with one mission, to escort Rhea of Thorland, and he just abandons her in the catacombs. What a great guy. Undead Burg is usually very uneventful. The only things of note are throwing knives we can get, and the gold pine resin. I did lose a run here early on though, because I did a dumb jump, got trapped, and panicked. Gamer jump that I don't actually need to do. Okay, I'm dead. But actually, I'm dead. Because I did the gamer jump. Wow. Forest Demon is up next, and as he's the second boss of the game, it goes pretty smoothly. It is worth mentioning though that this boss would frequently kick my ass because I've never really had to learn his timings. I don't know if I've ever lost a run to him, but it's been way too close way too many times. After beating the Taurus Demon, we're now at 9 soft humanity, which brings our item discovery to just over 2 times. And the items we want are either the Black Knight Sword, which is normally a 20% drop chance from the Black Knight, or the Black Knight Halberd, also a 20% drop chance from a knight later in the run. And with our boosted item discovery, we now have a 40% chance of getting these drops. And after playing Ring Around the Rosie, we don't get the drop. And remember the throwing knives from 80 seconds ago? Well, we need them for Hellkite to jump down consistently, because if you don't damage them and you try to run past while they're not breathing fire, you might die. But that's never happened to me. I'm just being cautious. Yeah, this footage is at 1000% speed. This literally went on for a solid 3 minutes. This is such a horrible experience. Why are you doing this to me? Do I just go tank the fire and run through? I don't know what else to do. I've literally never had him do consecutive flame attacks this many times. And the only guaranteed way for him to not do fire... Oh, that insta-kills me. Okay. Well, now I know. The only guaranteed way for him not to do fire is to damage him. So I'd have to get a bow or the throwing knives. And after a little boot scooting, we arrive in Undead Parish, where we pick up our backup weapon, the halberd. Seriously, if you're ever struggling with the game and you can make it this far, the halberd is absolutely cracked early game. Undead Parish always feels like a checkpoint for the run. We get quite a few upgrades here, like a Firekeeper Soul for our Estus, Lautrec, who will kill to get the Fap Ring, and of course our boy Andre. Hey, I'd let him hammer me if you know what I mean. Get my practice kicks in. See, this is why we do practice kicks. And of course, after freeing Lautrec, we have to go get him off. The ledge, I mean, so we can get his ring. In case anyone doesn't know, the Ring of Favor and Protection, colloquially known as Fap Ring, boosts HP, stamina, and equip load by 20% each, with the only downside being that the ring breaks if it's removed. So it's a pretty great ring, especially when you're trying not to die. From there, we take a bit of a detour to take our chance at the Black Knight Halberd I mentioned a little bit ago. And we again aren't lucky, and before we head off to the gargoyles, we stop by to see the rock. No, not that one. Havel the rock. He's going to get down on his knees and give us a ring. That ring, when equipped, increases our equip load by 50%, which will allow us to fast or medium roll while wearing armor that actually has a poise stat. Okay, I lied. We have a few more stops to make before we head to the gargoyles. The first is to kill this Fangboar in Undead Parish. I really only do this for the 40% chance to get my favorite helm in the game, the Fangboar helm. After that high, I decided I would kill the last Black Knight in the early game. He drops the Black Knight Greatsword, which I wouldn't use if I got. But statistically, we're guaranteed to drop from one of the Black Knights, and I just needed to test my RNG. This is also the only really questionable part of the run, as I quit out to avoid fall damage here. I've always allowed quit outs when I'm doing deathless attempts, but I know a lot of people would count this as a death, so... Okay. And what do I get for my trouble? The guaranteed Titanite chunk, and not the Black Knight Greatsword. Woohoo! Now it's finally time for the gargoyles. This has been a pretty big reset point for me since I started up attempts again. Make sure we don't get memed here. Oh, ow, ow, ow. And just like that, we've been memed. The only thing preventing me from getting the run at this point is if I choke on something. Alright, I think... Oh, we're not safe over there. The only thing preventing me from getting the run at this point is if I choke on something. If I choke on something. If I choke on something. Or if I get knocked off a ledge. That could happen too. But this fight went pretty smooth this time. And now we get to ring the first bell. Next, I take a quick detour to New Londo Ruins for another Firekeeper Soul before heading down to Blighttown to visit Quelaag. I saw a post the other day, and by the other day I probably mean like the other month, where it was like everybody else at FromSoft, here's this ridiculous like giant dragon, and then it's like bosses and NPCs designed by Miyazaki. Here's a petite woman with their feet out. And you know what? It's probably true. Quelaag goes pretty smooth given our damage. The only thing of note is this weird lava hitbox that I encountered. And it's not really weird, it's just annoying. But yeah, Now it's time for Ceaseless. Everyone say hi, Ceaseless. Hi, Ceaseless. Now say bye, Ceaseless. Bye, Ceaseless. Skipping ahead a little bit. Ah, I fucked it. This is the Undead Burg skip, which isn't really a skip this time since I've already cleared Undead Burg. I just don't feel like running all the way to Hellkite Bridge to use my key. And this is where the route for this run deviates a lot from my prior runs. Normally at this point I would go to Sen's Fortress, but I was thinking of possibly getting the Large Ember for the +10 Halberd. But after beating Capra, I decided that I just didn't need it for the Iron Golem, so yeah. And speaking of beating Capra, and if you thought this route would start making sense now, you were absolutely wrong. Now I head to Moonlight Butterfly. At this point, I was just trying to be as prepared as possible before I headed to Anor Londo, so I wanted to clean up some of the more accessible bosses in the early game and, you know, get some more souls, get some more levels. But yeah, Moonlight Butterfly is certainly a boss. At some point, I decided to start using my bow because I just kind of got bored waiting for the butterfly to land, and yeah. Also, I realized during this fight I hadn't been using the Grass Crest shield the entire time, for like the last hour of the run since I got it. Think of all the stamina that I could have regen during this time. And keep thinking about it because I still don't put on the Grass Crest shield. Finally, it was time for Sen's Funhouse, and thankfully it was totally uneventful, and for once in my life I actually managed to knock Iron Golem off the bridge. Anor Londo is pretty boring as well, and like I've been saying a lot, that's kind of the point of this run, for it to be as boring as possible, as boring and safe as possible. We pick up the Crystal Halberd, which is the weapon we would use for the rest of the run, assuming we didn't get anything better. Wink wink. I actually had 2 runs that made it to Anor Londo, the successful one we've been watching so far, and then another one where I panicked and my brain just kind of fell out of my head, and I let the enemies kill me, and yeah, it was very annoying because I had all the Black Knight weaponry that I could ever want, and I was in a great position to actually finish the run, but I did not do that. Instead, I choked and died. Okay, so during the Quelaag fight, I mentioned how many FromSoft bosses and NPCs have their grippers out. It is a lot. And while I was taking a break, I wanted to see if someone had made a list, like just these are all the bosses and NPCs that blatantly have their feet out. And yeah. So I made the mistake of trying to find like a list of feet in Dark Souls. Don't do that. Don't be like me. Be smarter, be better. But I found a 57-minute, almost 58-minute Dark Souls feet tier list video. And there is also a 3.5-minute video that is titled, "Which Soulsborne character has the best and most lickable feet?" Just thought I would share that with you guys. After I mentioned the video though, someone asked if Quelaag is on that list. You know, Quelaag might be on that list, but would you call them feet on a spider still? Or would you just call them legs? Do spiders have feet? And I haven't watched the video, and I won't be watching the video, but I was curious to see if spiders have feet, and content warning for spiders, but yes they do. Spiders have tiny little paws, and at least on tarantulas, they are absolutely adorable. Anyways, our next stop is to get Havel's armor and the occult club.
That's a surprise tool that can help us later.
Then we do a gamer jump off the stairs to skip going over the rooftop. And now it's time for arguably the hardest bosses in the game, the Pain Train themselves, Ornstein and Smo. And yeah, this was a pretty scuff fight. I will let past me narrate things, but it was not great. Oh. Off to a good start. I did not expect him to be able to go around the pillar there. This is bad. I'm dead. Almost for sure. Ooh, we got lucky with that, Ornstein. attack. Normally that would hit us. Normally he goes around pillars when he does his dash, so. That was fine. Nope. The second phase wasn't perfect, but it was much, much smoother. Just want to tickle your armored feet. Jeez.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Finally, we can stop and see some fan service before shooting it because I am too lazy to go get the Dark Moon Seance Ring. Alright, so where next? Here's Undead Asylum. We won't ever be seeing it again. We won't ever be seeing it again.
We won't ever be seeing it again.
I don't know what I'm having for my second dinner, chat. I normally eat like a small dinner, a small meal before I stream, and then I eat food after I stream as well. I don't know what I have after stream today. I could go for a Hot Pocket. That actually doesn't sound too bad. Now the question is, are you like a pizza guy, or are you a ham and cheddar guy? Or do you like one of the other flavors? I am also a ham and cheddar man. I appreciate having a man of culture in chat. I did in fact get Hot Pockets after stream, by the way.
¿Por qué no los dos?
Oh, and we're here for Stray Demon. Just to narrate what's actually happening in the game. Not even the person that was given, like the developer that was given that task, but the one that had to up-res the textures for the remaster. That's the assignment that I want, you know? I want somebody to say, hey Zach, you remember the Asylum Demon in Dark Souls 1? Yeah. Well, for the remaster, like, we really, really want to emphasize how wrinkly he is. Like, we want him to have some really leathery skin. Do you think you can manage that? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I can do that. All right, cool. Since you're going to be doing the Asylum Demon, can you do the Stray Demon too? Yeah, I guess. That's fine. All right, cool. Also, Demon Fire Sage. Don't forget that one. He's important too. After picking up the Peculiar Doll and taking one chance at a Black Knight sword, I figured I would take my chance at the second, but I didn't know where the second Black Knight was, so I set off to exploring. Oh, yep. That's him. Found him.
Surprise, motherfucker.
You following me now?
You better have a hell of a reason for being here.
I'm looking for a sword in the Undead Asylum. While it's not better than our Crystal Halberd yet, it certainly will be later on. Also, just to harken back to my earlier stat discussion, with the first Black Knight we killed there, we were at a 160% chance to have gotten a drop from one of these Black Knights, and then a 200% chance at the second Knight, so I'm glad RNG was finally on our side. Skipping ahead, we say hi to Kirk before heading over to DFS. As is tradition at this point, I almost get killed right at the beginning of the fight before going hitless. This doesn't really impact the run at all, but I've never ran through Anor Londo after killing Guinevere, and apparently you get attacked by Blade of the Darkmoon members. Blade of the Darkmoon is Guinevere's Covenant, and that was something really fun to find out like 70% of the way through my Deathless run. I definitely didn't almost die to one of the NPCs. And look, I don't have any idea what this route is right now, but we're in the depths to get gaped by a dragon or something. I don't know. I don't know this game's lore. And yeah, I'm pretty far in the game, and this fight only took 7 attacks to finish. Finally, like 4 hours into the run, I start using our final weapon, the Black Knight Sword. At this point, it does slightly less damage than the Crystal Halberd, but it also has about 10 times the durability. Durability is the main issue with crystal weapons for anybody that doesn't know. They can't be repaired. They only regain durability when you upgrade them, and obviously they can only be upgraded a limited number of times. So yeah, taking a crystal weapon to the end of the game is challenging sometimes. And after a lot of faffing about, it's finally time for Mr. Legs himself, the Centipede Demon. This fight is pretty trivial if you can actually make it over to the patch of land on the right side of the arena. You can even mash through his grab attack fast enough to not take damage. But I know the question that everyone has. How many legs does the Centipede Demon have, and is it similar to a real-life centipede? Well, I've got the answers for you. The Centipede Demon has 105 legs across his 6 different centipedes, 107 if you include his 2 actual legs. As for how that stacks up next to a real-life centipede, well, they can have as few as 15 pairs of legs or as many as 177 pairs of legs, and since he has about 54 pairs, he falls in centipede territory, even being close to the average number of legs at 35. I will say, however, after reading Centipede Demon's lore from one of the wikis, that it mentions he has 6 separate centipedes, and those do not have an average of 15 pairs. The most legs on any of the centipede sections, I believe, was 31, so that would be the only one that has qualifications to be a centipede. All of the others have too few legs. I don't know what they would be called, but they would not be centipedes.
Now you know, 'cause it's my super shot.
After our lava gauntlet, we say hi to Knight Kirk very, very briefly. And then we head into Bed of Chaos to toss a few firebombs. And I was already in Anor Londo to upgrade my weapon, so I figured we'd pop by and check on our old buddy Gwendolyn, only to find out he had recently passed after an accident involving a Black Knight sword of all things. Rumor has it, he was hit 5 times before dying. And then I ran all the way back through Lost Izalith because I forgot to get the Sunlight Maggot when I was there the first time. Seriously, it took 8 minutes to run from the Daughter of Chaos bonfire through Lost Izalith to get to the Sunlight Maggot. And I almost got killed by Solaire in the process.
Finally, I have found it. I have. It's over. My son is settled. It's dark. So dark.
Continuing my lack of routing, I decided to head to the Catacombs next, where we say hi to Pinwheel, who was kind enough to drop us the Mask of the Child, increasing our stamina recovery. Probably the best mask I could have gotten in this run, given that I'm using such a chunky sword. After that, not much happened on the way to Nito, except Paladin Leroy having a bit of an equipment malfunction in the cave. And speaking of Nito, he was a pretty humble Lord of Death this run. He didn't once do his ground stab thing, which apparently is called the Gravelord Sword Dance, and he also didn't do his Death Wave. In fact, the whole fight only took 1.5 minutes. So, where will our chosen undead go next? If you guess the painted world of Ariamis, well, first, why would you guess that? But second, you would be correct. And honestly, things got a little sketchy. It started when I decided to fight this Bow Hollow for no reason other than the fact that he shot at me. While I was doing that, an Engorged Hollow attacked me that I couldn't see because I was zoomed in, and he ended up giving me Toxic. Right after that, I got jump scared by a Crow Demon while activating the Undead Dragon. And if I don't out-heal it... Oh! Fuck! What the fuck? Where'd you come from? I didn't have any Blooming Moss to cure the Toxic, so I decided I would just bow the Undead Dragon to avoid getting comboed out by the Dragon and Toxic. Like, that probably wouldn't happen, but I could definitely see myself not paying enough attention and realizing I was, like, low HP and then getting hit by the dragon and dying. So, yeah, we just took the safe route. With the dragon out of the way, we give his butt a little spank, so it lets us pass, and then we fight Priscilla, who is a laughably easy boss with this damage.
I expected. But why?
Skipping past a whole lot of running around, we end up meeting Seath, who turns us into a crystal pincushion, ending the challenge run. I have been AlaskanBeard, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Huh? Oh, I'm being told that this is a mandatory death you can't skip without glitches, so it does not count for the run. Thank you. You can skip the Seath fight by doing this elevator skip, but it's not something that I've ever done, and I didn't think it was worth trying and potentially dying to, so yeah. I take the death to Seathless. Seathless? I take the death to Seath. The rest of Duke's Archive is pretty uneventful, and whoa, here's Seath! We run around in a big circle, tickling his tentacle until he's terminated. And with one Lord Soul left, we head to the entire other side of the world to pet the goodest girl in all of Lordran. But yeah, this was a really smooth fight, probably the best Sith fight I've ever had. It's kind of crazy just how hard the Black Knight sword goes. I pick up the Hornet Ring, which will be used in our Gwyn fight very far in the future, and the Crest of Artorias before I head to New Londo, where I shoot inward a few times before draining it, unleashing the Dark Wraiths to terrorize the people once more. And before you know it, we are jumping into the Abyss to fight the Four Kings. This fight is the only real DPS check in the game, but aside from taking a bit too long on the first king, things go incredibly smoothly. I ended up wearing Havel's pants and gauntlets, which gave me plenty of poise and defense while still allowing me to medium roll. The kings were also incredibly humble, only doing their explosion attack once and never doing their grab. It was far from hitless, but it was a great king's fight in my book. And that just leaves one boss in the base game, Gwyn, Lord of Cinder. But this wouldn't be an all bosses run if we just did the base game now, would it? So let's venture forth. Well, past actually? Let's venture past, 200 to 300 years to be exact, to Ulasil, or what is present day Darkroot Garden. Okay, so that might be a little premature. I didn't actually get any of the stuff to enter the DLC, so let's do that real quick. 1 Hydra hacked. Dusk disentangled. Pendant pilfered. Great big fuzzy hand fondled? Well, he did the fondling, I guess, but either way, now we are in the past. And our first task, to pound some Sanctuary Guardian ass. With our sword, I mean. And if you like pounding, make sure to stick around to pound some pavement with today's sponsor, Travel Lordran. For a limited time only, you can see the sights in the Royal Wood. Join me, AlaskanBeard, as we say hi to Mushroom Grandma, meet the local farmers, see exotic wildlife. Get out of here, Kalameet. Go. Get. And meet 2024's most stylish man, Chester, the two-faced rat. And end your day with an acrobatics show featuring the one and only Artorias of the Abyss. There may even be clowns. If you thought Kalameet or Manus were up next, well, you're wrong. Get in, loser, we're hunting Firekeeper souls. Yeah, at this point my healing was pretty lackluster, so I needed an upgrade. Now, if you thought Kalameet or Manus were up next, you were right. What, did you really think I'd call you a loser twice in one video? I would never. And on the way to Manus, we got a little surprise. I almost never play this game while human, so I haven't done a lot of the NPC invasions, and while I've seen most of them in other playthroughs, Chester scared the absolute shit out of me and almost ended my run because he hits like a dump truck. We make our way down and around and around and down, stopping to get made fun of by the locals as we go. We don't need this. This is a mimic chest. And then there's Manus. This wasn't my cleanest Manus fight, and Manus decided to spam quite a bit of magic, but I don't think I ever really got that close to dying. Unless you get caught in the big tantrum attack, he's really not that scary. And as an aside, Manus was the longest of all the boss fights in this run. Kalameet was a close second, but Manus still won by about a minute. Now it's time for Kalameet. More like phallic meat, am I right? Hey, look, if you want a better rhyme, come up with it yourself. But first, I need to go get the key for Goff. I wonder where that could be. Backtracking done and key in hand, the Kalameet fight was pretty boring, all things considered. I got hit by a couple attacks early on while I was relearning the hitboxes, but otherwise, it was a lot of waiting around for Kalameet to give me an opening. And then there was just one left. Gwyn should be an easy fight by now, since I have to fight him during all of my runs, and surprise, he was. But yeah, that's me beating Dark Souls 1 without dying. This was the first challenge run I attempted, like ever, sometime last year, and I'm glad I came back to it. At some point, I will probably do this same run in all of the Souls games, and, you know, probably Elden Ring, Sekiro, Bloodborne. But I have by far the most hours in DS1, so I can't imagine it will be near as easy when I get to the other games. If you're ever interested in watching these runs live, I stream a few times a week on Twitch, and yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please do all the YouTube stuff. It's always appreciated. Until next time, I have been AlaskanBeard. Thank you for watching. I hope you're doing well, and if you're not, just know that things can and will get better eventually.